Hey y'all, now that the art show dust has settled, it's been a couple of days since our art show. Tomorrow we're going to start taking everything down. But before we do, I thought I would give you a proper tour. I know I've been sharing a lot of pictures on social media, but I haven't really shown you the whole shebang. So our art show kind of has three parts to it. It actually had a lot of parts, but it had three main parts. And the three main parts were the Pirate Art Gallery, which is my room that has been transformed into this space. There was the Glow Gallery, which I will take you to in another clip, and it was a spare classroom in the school. And then the other place for kids to see their artwork was up and down the school halls. We always display two-dimensional pieces outside of the classroom teacher's door. So really there were three opportunities for my students to find their artwork throughout the school. Our theme this year was a pirate theme. So when the kids walked in the door, they were to come dressed as pirates, and they did. Faculty and staff also dressed as pirates. When they walked in, I had a table set up with a giant treasure chest that I made and a treasure map. The kids were each given a treasure map, and on the map were little X's of all of the places throughout the school that I wanted them to go. Pirate Gallery, Glow Gallery, see their artwork outside of every grade level's hall, because I really wanted them to see all of the artwork everybody had made, not just their artwork. There were three photo op backdrops that I painted with lots of props for them to take pictures. We had an ice cream social, and we had face painting. So there was so much happening that I didn't want them to miss a thing. If they managed to see everything on their treasure map when they were leaving the Pirate Art Show, they got a little loot bag, which was stamped with a Jolly Roger, and that was passed out by a couple of teachers dressed as pirates as the kids were walking out. It was just a little bag filled with candy. I'd asked the teachers for donations of candy. They brought me tons, and that was what was in their loot bag. So I thought in this video I would take you through what's called the Pirate Art Gallery. So let's get started. So this is the Pirate Art Gallery. And this is my art room. This is not what it normally looks like. And I had painted over the last couple of months some backdrops. I created these two backdrops with bulletin board paper, and you can see that it's two sheets taped together. If you look at the top, a piece of tape was put across the top. That makes the paper strong enough for me to punch holes in. Then I chained two paper clips together. One paper clip was then punctured into the ceiling tile, and that's how they are hung. I created the diamonds and different things that I'm going to show you at home, and eventually just brought all these things in to create these displays. I wanted the focus to be on the kids' artwork. I didn't want my art room to serve as a distraction. So that's why I created, these displays. And of course I didn't have the opportunity to do it here, but I did have the kids' painted lanterns and their faux batiks to hang from my twinkle lights. So let's get a little closer to this gallery table. This table that I'm going to show you first is going to be first grade fish, fourth grade clay projects. The fourth graders also created those ships in a bottle down below. So these projects, these ceramic projects, were created by my fourth grade students. They were created with clay, fired in the kiln. Once out of the kiln, I then dunked them in black ink. Once they were dunked in black ink, the fourth graders then painted them with metallic craft store paints. Nothing special, literally just the $2 a bottle of craft store paints at your local craft store. The first graders made the fish. They made those out of clay. Those were then glazed. They also made the bases out of clay. The bases were dunked in a tan kind of watered down acrylic paint. The kids also used those sparkly paints to paint their seaweed and seashells. And I added just a little bit of sparkle with some of those flat-sided marbles. We further kind of decorated the tables with Mardi Gras beads. Down below, you can see some of our ships in a bottle by fourth grade also. Those were created on cardboard. We used painted patterned papers to create the seascape. We then made the boats out of model magic and used paper straws and paper for the mast and the sail. Doing this kind of glaze, we'll call it a fake glaze technique with the fourth graders projects really saved me from having to fire them again. It made it so there was a complete coverage of glaze, and every project just turned out, I think, beautiful. They all have a really great shimmer and a shine to them. So this was fourth grade, 2 of their projects, and 1 of first grades. Second grade students. These treasure chests were created by my second grade students. They were the hit probably of the art show. They are created with a box, just a regular box. I purchased them a while ago on Uline because I was shipping some things in them. The top of the box is a turned over hot dog restaurant like container, serving container from Sonic. And we covered these with plaster, which you can kind of see here. I spray painted them brown. Then the kids further antiqued them with metallic paints. We added the details with model magic. We created loot bags with gold coins inside. This was just extra clay that the kids painted metallic colors. And with some recycled paper, shipping paper, we made little treasure maps that also served as a place for their names to be displayed. My third graders made these pirate ships. The bases are a coil base. I don't know if you can tell. It looks like red clay. It's not a red clay. They actually used white clay, but then I dunked them in a brownish kind of watered down acrylic. I like doing this dunking technique because it means that they will have full coverage. So that's why I did it with the black ink on the fourth graders projects, with the bases on the first graders fish, and with these boats. But then they went back and they used metallic kind of paints to add a little shimmer and shine and add color. When the kids were done making the boats, I used a skewer and I just put a little bit of I wouldn't call it a hole because it doesn't go all the way through to the bottom, but a little bit of an indentation in the bottom of the boats. 3 indentions for their 3 masts. When the kids got them we got them out of the kiln and they got them back, they had to create a mast, 3 masts, and a flag. A lot of them chose to do different countries' flags because we learned that pirates often flew the flags of other countries to trick oncoming boats. And then a lot of them also included the Jolly Roger. They used paper straws for the mast, and those are toilet paper tubes we used for the sails themselves. This display was another one where I worked on it at home. This was one that, like, an accidental display, but mostly because as I was laying out clay projects, I discovered that we had more projects than I had tables for display. So I had actually created those papers with the clouds on them. I painted them for some other display that we ended up not using. The parrots I had been working on at home as just like a little, as goofy as it sounds, a little side doodly project. And so I just put it together to create this display earlier this week. So that gave us another extra table to hold 2 projects. Some of these projects are the second grade pirate parrots. The other project are my third graders version of the coral reef relief, which is like a more simplified version of what my fourth graders did. And at the bottom of the table, you'll see more ships in a bottle. So let's get a little bit closer to some of these projects on the table. You're going to see that they are very similar to what the fourth graders did. They are just on a smaller scale. They also focused more on marine life in a coral reef. We didn't talk so much about buried treasure and all that because these kids who did these coral reef reliefs are also the ones who did a pirate ship. So we focused more of that discussion when we were doing those. These funny-legged pirate parrots were done by second graders. Their second graders were also the ones who made the treasure chests. So everybody in here had at least 2 sculpture projects. Whether it be clay or a treasure chest or a ship in a bottle, everybody had at least 2 things, except for kindergarten because their second clay project went in the glow gallery. These are more of those little diamonds and gems I was working on at home. Again, this was a display that I was like, oh snap, we're gonna need more tables. Let me make a display. 2 pieces of paper, black, taped together. I hot glued the crystals and gems down and then just added the little white paints of sparkle. And it just made it so when you came to the art show, you weren't seeing my cabinets, which if you saw them right now, you'd be horrified. Let's check out what's on this table. So on this table are the kindergartners' initial plaques. They make, we do this project every year. Let me see if I can get over here and angle you down. It's initials, their first letter initial on a textured plaque. This is a lesson or a project that you can find both in my blog and actually in my clay book. So you'll see there's a letter, first letter, their name. Again, these were dunked in ink. I've done these a couple of different ways. We've done the trick before where you color with oil pastel and dip in ink. This time around, we dipped them in black ink and then they painted them with metallics, much like the 3rd and 4th graders did. More pirate parrots by 2nd grade are kind of interspersed throughout. I try, if you see right there in the middle, I try to have a little sign so people know where to find their class, since there's clay projects everywhere. And one last couple of displays. So these 2 banners are very similar to the other 2. One has a treasure, one has a ship, and below it 2 classes of treasure boxes, different sizes. You'll notice that some are small, some are big. It's just depending on what size box they chose to use. More ship in a bottle by 4th grade and more of the pirate ships. So that kind of wraps up the display in the Pirate Art Gallery.